A Journey Through Desert by Sudha Murthy. So, the important characters in this text are Ram and Gopal and the narrator herself. So, Ram and Gopal are two boys, and the narrator means the author, as if she is only telling her story. So, this is a narration done by the author herself. The person who is narrating the story will always mention I did this, I did that, like these types of things. So the narrator is here and Ram and Gopal is here, two boys, and the whole communication will be between Ram, Gopal and the narrator. Ram and Gopal are two boys. They are poor, they are not properly educated, they knew many languages. They are errand boys, they knew how to give respect, and they were very hardworking. These are the key points of these two characters. While the narrator, she is a very caring woman. Caretaking and loving nature can be seen in her. She is a teacher to both the boys, and she has a very good friendly relationship with the boys, and a special relation with the two boys can be seen in the story. The story has two parts, past and present, and finally we will see the moral also. Past and present means once the narrator will tell the story, when she will begin the story, she will take us to the past. So we will get a view of the past scenes, we will get the story which is told in the past, and then she will bring us back to the present condition. So in films also we have seen these types of things happens when a person recapitulates, when a person remembers the past incidents. Similarly here also the past incidents are told, and then the narrator will bring us back to the present thing, and then she will tell us what is happening in the present scenario, in the present situation. And finally we will see what the moral of the story is. The story will revolve around Ram and Gopal and the narrator herself. The communication will be between these three persons, and other persons, sub characters will be there. No names will be as such mentioned. Main thing will revolve around these three persons, and we will see how in past she relates us to the story and how she tells the story in the present form also. We would be dealing with the focus points of the chapter, The Journey Through the Desert. Firstly, the chapter is having two parts, and we will begin with part 1. The story, A Journey Through Desert, begins with the reminiscent author telling a tale from her own past. So the story is something which is dealing with her own past. So he will take us at the beginning to a past storytelling. The narrator begins by saying, till a few years back I did not have a driver. So till a few years back. So the narrator is taking us a few years back state. So this is not the present day, this is not a future thing, but a past thing, the past story that the narrator is going to tell us. And what is the beginning of the story? The beginning of the story is, till a few years back I did not have a driver. The narrator says that did not have a driver and used to drive everywhere herself. We have discussed about the author. I have told you that what are the characteristics of her, and I have told you that with the name and with the details that I have explained. By now I am sure you know that she is a female. The author is a female character. So the narrator did not have a driver and used to drive everywhere herself. The narrator says the petrol pump where she used to fill petrol had a service station beside it. So the narrator did not have a driver. That means the narrator have a car. And for the car, what are the things necessary? Going to a petrol pump to fill the petrol and also a service station. So both the things, the petrol pump and service station, were beside each other. So the narrator used to go to fill petrol and she didn't have a driver, and the service station was there beside the petrol pump. Next, some Saturday she would go to the service station. Where is the service station? Beside the petrol pump. And in which day she used to go? On Saturdays. And two boys, Ram and Gopal, perhaps 14 years, twins, and they could speak many languages, Kannada, Tamil, Telugu and Hindi. They worked in the service station. Who are the two boys? Ram and Gopal. And what are the ages? For perhaps 14. The author does not mention that it is 14 years old. He uses the word perhaps because she has never asked them about the age. So perhaps 14 years old. They are twins and they could speak many languages. Which are the languages they could speak? Kannada, Tamil, Telugu and Hindi. And where are these boys found? They are found in the service station. Now the poet shifts our attention towards Bangalore, which is the capital of Karnataka. And she tells us that except Kannada, other languages are also spoken there. So the author takes a shift. After telling that she had a driver, she goes to the service station on Saturday, Ram and Gopal are there. The author tells us that the capital of Karnataka is Bangalore. By this line, the author wants us to understand that the story is set in Karnataka. So Bangalore is the capital of Karnataka, and except Kannada, other languages are also spoken there. And which are the languages the boys knew? The boys knew Kannada, Tamil, Telugu and Hindi. And where did the boys work? On the service station. And where is the service station? Beside the petrol pump. And on which day the author used to go there on the service station? On Saturday. Many other people from other states have settled in Bangalore, so it is a cosmopolitan city. Cosmopolitan means a place where many peoples from other states, other regions have come and settled. That type of a place is known as a cosmopolitan city, where not only the people indigenous to the state, original born and brought up persons of the state reside, but also person from other states come and reside there. So Bangalore is such a cosmopolitan city. The boys were errant and cheerful. The boys were very cheerful and errant. Which boys is? Ram and Gopal. The narrator would sit on the chair and read some books when the car service was in progress. On which day? Saturday, when she used to visit the service station. When the car service was done, the narrator would sit on the chair. And the narrator became friendly with the boys. The boys shared information about their life with the narrator. The boys used to share some information. Which information the boys used to share with the narrator? Firstly, the boys were fatherless. Their mother worked as laborer. Her mother worked as a laborer means physical labor her mother was giving. As because they were very poor, you can understand, as because they were working in the service center station, so they were not having enough money. So the mother was also very uneducated person. You can get the idea from that, though nowhere it is mentioned, but you have to understand this. So the mother worked as a laborer. A person who works as a laborer does not have that much intellectual mental capacity, so she puts on the physical effort. This is what the author wants us to understand without mentioning the thing. So the boys were fatherless. Which boys? Ram and Gopal. Which age? 14 years age. And they used to work where? On the service station. So the boys were fatherless. Their mother worked as a laborer and they resided in slums in their with their uncle. So they resided in slums with their uncle. They had studied up to class 4. Nobody was there to guide them at home. So their living condition was not any big house. Instead, it was a place, slum is a place where people of very low category, very low class, who do not have a financial background, very nice financial background, they used to stay in slums. So which people stay in slums? Who are incapable of providing a good livelihood, they stay in slums. And they have studied up to class 4. And why? You can understand that their financial condition, their condition of the money that they have is not good. So they have studied up to class 4 only. And then, as the author without mentioning is telling us that they work in a service station. So I mean, in which condition does a 14-year boy works in a service station? In only one condition, when they need money. Instead of going to school at that age, they are working in the service station. So nobody was there to guide them at home. More information that the boy shares. Salary was low at the service station, but they got free breakfast and lunch. Sometimes they got tips also. No fixed working hours. They came around 8 in the morning and went home at 8 at night, and Sundays were the only holidays. First point, salary was low at the service station. I told you they work for money over there. So the salary that they get, that was not sufficient. That was low. But they got free breakfast and lunch, so food was not sufficient that they got from the home. They dependent and they were happy that they were getting breakfast and lunch at the service station. Sometimes they got tips also. Sometimes they got extra money provided by the customers. The customers provide some extra money by when they are satisfied with the service that they are getting. Okay, so they do servicing of the car. These boys, as you know, they are working in the service station. So when a car is coming and the owner of the car is satisfied that the service of the car is done in a very good format, then they provide some money. So sometimes they get these types of small monies from the customer except the salary. But there was no fixed working hours. The working hours used to vary. Whenever they are called, they have to come. They came around 8 in the morning. General working hours are what? They came at the 8 o'clock in the morning and went home at 8 at night. So it was from 8 in the morning till 8 at the night duty. And Sundays were the only holidays that they used to get. But in spite of all these difficulties, the boys always smiled. So they were very small boys, only 14 years boy. They were twins. They used to look alike, and they are born in the same day. Twins are born in the same day. I will explain all this when I'm explaining line by line. When I will explain the line by line of the chapter, these are the focus points with which you have to get an idea of what the chapter is. Only the focus point that you have to remember. For the thoughts, for the emotional things that are going on, you have to read the chapter. So we are getting all these informations, and that they were fatherless, a mother worked as a laborer, and they resided in the slums. So all these information are provided by Ram and Gopal to whom? To the author. But in spite of all these difficulties, which difficulties? A 14-year boy wants to go to school, he wants to play, he wants to do very active things, but instead of that, he is giving his labor, he is giving he's working in a service station for some money and for some breakfast and lunch. So these are all difficulties. They don't even get time to study. So all these difficulties were there in the life of Ram and Gopal. And after mentioning all this difficulty, what the author tells us, that in spite of all these difficulties, the boys always smiled.